z, get y. So I'm going to write down x equal y over z. I want to get y by itself, so I need to get rid of the z, right? And since the z is being divided by, to get something by itself, you reverse the process, like untangling. So I would multiply both sides by z. That cancels out the z on one side, and now I have y equal what? And I see Brian put down y equal x divided by z. I see Brian put down y equals z times x. Yulita have y divided by x over z, so we have a disagreement right there, and my answer is z times x or x times z. And for the person who got it slightly off, please look at my screen for the second problem. And that's my first. Okay, take a look at it, screenshot it. So for some of you, as I said, if you don't speak out, I can't say, hey, watch out for it. So now Mr. M knows that maybe he accidentally had a misconception somewhere along the way, and the best thing your teacher can do and friend can do for you is correct your misconception. Okay. So I put the chat in the link in the chat again because I saw a few people just arrive. And now let's do the last one. Let's go big or go home, right? BIG. So I have B equal I over G. You can see my cam. How do I get that by itself? How do I get that G by itself? So do it for a second. Think. So there's two ways I can do this. This was the one that a lot of you got wrong on the lab because the G is in the bottom. You forgot that once you get rid of the I, you don't have G, you have 1 over G. And people was like, is that not the same thing? Let me tell you, 1 divided by 2, which is 1/2, is not the same thing as 2, okay? So I see Sophia put down the answer. And now watch me do it, right? I have B equal IG. If I want to get G by itself, let me just first flip it upside down. So when I flip both sides upside down, I have 1 over B now, because now B is in the bottom, so it's 1 over B, equal G over I. And once I do that, look at my screen. This is no difference than the last problem, right? Once I finish flipping it, this is no difference than the last problem. So if I want to get G by itself, I just have to get rid of the I in the bottom. The opposite of divided by I is to multiply by I. So I multiply both sides by I. And what if I do on one side, I do onto the other side. That get rid of my I. And now I have G by itself equal I times B in the bottom, which looks like this. So Sophia got it right and did an excellent job. One other way I can do this, that might be a little bit easier. So B equal I over G. So once again, our original problem is to put a 1 underneath the B and cross multiply. Some of you are not used to flipping fraction yet. So one other way is to put a 1 underneath, because whenever you divide and multiply by 1, it doesn't matter. And then go ahead and cross multiply. So now I have I times 1, which is I, equal B times G. This is the easier way in my opinion. And if I want to get that G by itself, all I have to do is get rid of the B next to it, just like that first problem. If I want to get rid of something that's multiplied by, I divide. So I divide both sides by B. So I got rid of the B, and now I have G equal I over B, just like Sophia did. So I know these are basic algebra, but please take the time to review it. As I said, you can look up the equation for density. D equal mv is already given to you, right, in your notes. But you look for V, for example, okay, you're like, what's the equation for volume? They're like, length times width times height. which is the volume of a block. That's the most common one that people search up. Or it might tell you the volume of a cylinder. It's not telling you what's the volume in relation to mass and density. So knowing how to do things is better than looking things up. So you have, by rearranging it, I get M equal dV. So now all I have to do is plug it in and punch it out. So I grab my calculator and I punch in D first. D is 3.51 times the volume, which is 9.203. And my answer is this long number, but please don't write it down yet. This is like someone who blindly followed the calculator. You pick that answer on the test, I'll tell you, you would get it wrong. You pick that answer on the test, you will get it wrong. The new information that I spent about 2 hours making last night will teach you about accuracy. You can notice I started out with 3 number, right? For the density, right here. I started out with 4 number for the volume right here. And in life, they always say, your team is only as strong as your weakest link. Because when stress and real tough thing comes, your weakest link is where the group or the team will break. Here I have 3 digit, I have 4 digit. Is it possible that my calculator can give me 7 digit of accuracy? The answer is obviously no, right? So this is just the answer the calculator gives me, but I have to be the human with a much bigger brain than this thing and figure out and follow the rule on what is accurate. So the rule on multiplying or dividing is you only can keep the least amount, aka the weakest link, the least amount of digit that you were given. So I have 3 digit given for the density and 4 digit given for the volume. So how many digits should I keep? Go ahead and type in the answer. What would be the number answer for this in the chat? I have 3 digit and 4 digit, and I only can keep as much as my weakest link, aka the shortest number of digit. Okay, so I see Brittany type in 32.3. I see someone else put in 32.30. So let me once again state, I have 3 digit and I have 4. Which one is the least? I am only as good as my weakest link. My least digit is not 4. My least digit is 3. So the answer would be 32.3. Okay? And you're like, but Mr. Vu, you get an extra 0. Extra 0 is more accurate. No, please know that accuracy is closer to the truth, not how many digits you have. Okay? If someone were taking a yardstick and measure my height, and they say, Mr. Vu, you're 5 feet 4.267 inches. I'm like, you're BSing me because the yardstick does not mark to the 100th or the 1000th of an inch. Okay? Or someone say, Mr. Vu, I went home and measured my weight and they said I weigh 182.6234899267 pounds. That's not accurate because the scale doesn't go that far. And what would be the unit for mass? Use your common sense, okay? Obviously here, I am giving gram and I'm giving centimeters cube in the thing. So my only answer here has to be gram. In some problem, it'll be kilogram and so on. So thank you, Brittany, and a few other people. So in this case, we're looking for density. Just use the original equation for density that you were given in the previous example. You don't need to rearrange it anything. Here, I just want to see if you guys can remember the rule for digit and unit. I am serious. There's more than 6 questions on the test related to this stuff. So for number 3, all you have to do is plug it in. Since we're looking for density, the equation is already D equal is by itself. So the equation is density equal mass divided by volume over here. Then I put in the mass on top. Sorry, getting used to it. Actually over here, right? Mass on top, sorry. And volume in the bottom. I punch it out on my calculator and it tells me 3.249 . It was a long number. But because I have 5 digit and 3 digit, my least accurate number is only 3. So my information I get people can only have 3 digit. That's why I rounded 3.249 something into 3.25. And then don't always forget about your unit. In this case, nothing cancel out. So the unit left over is gram over centimeters cubed, because density is mass divided by volume. So always watch out for sig fig, the number of digits that you can keep appropriately when you multiply, divide. And also watch out for unit. So please watch the video on 2.2 and 2.3 I just uploaded. And if you have any question, ask on the next sync meeting for last one. And also email me. I'll be answering email throughout the day, every single day for the next few days. Okay? Peace out.